Hey guys, my name is Alex Barham. With Piranha's release of the Scorch, a lot of people have been asking me, how do you know which one of these three full-length boats do you even pick out? What's going on? So let's look at it this way. Piranha has a Loki, a Jed, and an Ozone. Those are over here in the playboats. They've got the Scorch X, the 12R, in the long range. And then in the middle, you've got the Machno, the 9R2, and the Scorch. Okay, they're between 8.5, 9.5 feet long. Creekers, river runners, somewhere in between. You're going to use them for all of them anyway. Let's just throw them in a pot. So let's go sequentially in the order that they came out in. All right, so the Machno came out first. It came out on the heels of the 9R. If you look at this boat, the thing it is closest to is actually a Dagger Nomad. The Dagger Nomad and the Machno are really close to each other, and the difference really comes down to the Machno has more hybrid features with a planing hull. It is a more aggressive boat, and it's a higher performance boat. That is really the way that I would think about a Machno. Okay, super steep gradient, low volume. You have to get a boof no matter what. That's going to be the Machno for me. So I primarily use this boat for micro creeking, waterfall running. It pencils vertically into drops so beautifully. And I would just call it my all-around comfort boat. It makes me a better paddler than I really am. It just does things super well, super cleanly, and gives me an extremely high degree of confidence in rowdy situations. That said, you don't want to overload a Machno, so like overnighters and stuff like that in a boat that you're already in the middle of the weight range for could be a bit much. I like to be super light in them, and they are not the most incredible big water boat. Why? Because they don't have the chines to be. So when you really need to be able to just dig in with your edges and carve huge lines out into the nothingness, this isn't going to be the boat for you. Will it do big water if all you got to do is shimmy around and make big hits? Absolutely. I've run monstrous big water, Ottawa at 23 feet or something in this boat. It did great. I didn't have a problem with it. Are there better boats out there? Yeah, there are better boats out there. So let's go in the next boat that came out, the 9R2. Now, you can't really talk about this boat without talking about another boat, right? The boat it came from. If you're going to talk about the sequel, you got to talk about the original. So the original 9R was an incredible trendsetter. It very much resembled a banana with edges on it. It just had a continuous rocker profile, dug in really well to currents, and because of sheer speed and rocker, it allowed you to just go fast, bounce off stuff. It always makes me think of the Facebook mantra, go fast and break stuff. Because it would go fast and I would break stuff. So the 9R2 came out. The idea here was instead of having all of that rocker bouncing around and doing all this stuff and creating extraneous motion, to give you the smoothest, straightest, sleekest ride you could for racing, right? Stay on track, all plan A, go, 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 keep the bow dry, go, go, go. What would I call its niche, its sweet spot? I would say that it is low gradient river running. Maybe big volume, but definitely just your everyday river run. The 9R2 is just so great at steering from the knees, straightening out the crooked, making little jibs and jabs between rocks, things like that, and just making basic river running really pleasurable and fun and being nimble in that way. Can you go and do big creaking in it? Absolutely. But you really are going to want to make sure there's quite a lot of volume in that river with you, because it loves to stern tap drops, and it doesn't do it super gracefully. Most of the time when I was running waterfalls in this thing, I wound up running off angle boofs as opposed to straight off boofs because I would stern tap it. So I would say that's really its place. River running this thing, pure joy. Now we get to the Scorch. Just came out. What do we do with it? Well, I think that the places where the 9R2 fell flat, the Scorch picks up. I think that is incredibly strong. River running, steep gradient, big water, it creaks really well. It does all of these things really well. The difference, though, is going to be that it wants you to also do those things pretty well before you get there. So it wants you to go into that environment with an aggressive style, pulling big strokes on the way in, and giving it the speed to do its job. Simply put, the Scorch is an advanced boat for advanced paddlers. It will not be a warm blanket for anyone, but if you know what you're doing with it, it has all the tools in its bag of tricks. It can do anything you need it to do, and it's going to do it with a high level of performance. It is going to drive, punch, boof, skip, all of those things given the right input, but it's going to demand that input. So in that way, I really think about it as like a trophy truck or a grand touring sports car, right? Not everyone can drive one of those high-end vehicles, but the people that can do amazing things. And there's a beautiful thing about a piece of equipment that is made for and used by high-end users that just unlocks potential. So in that way, I hope that there are more boats like this. I hope there are more boats that aren't wrapped in bubble wrap and are left as they should be for the high-end user. And I hope there are more boats that really cater to the people that need a little extra to get down the river. However, at the end of the day, you got really hard chines on the bottom of that boat. And what it's not gonna wanna do is spend a lot of time grinding on rock. That's something that is just a trade-off in this boat. So make sure you got some volume under you so the boat is in water, not on rock, and you'll be cool. So that just leaves sizing. I've already done a video covering my opinions on sizing and my philosophy, but what I would say is that, especially with these Piranha designs, because you're working with hard chines that need to be in the right level of engagement, it is going to pay dividends to go lighter in a boat when given a chance. If you find yourself and you are in the perfect place in the weight range, happy days. But if you're between two sizes, I am always going to recommend that you go bigger and just paddle more aggressively. It will pay out like a lottery ticket. I hope that gave you some insight into at least how my mind works on these things. This is a question, by the way, that I asked Chris Hipgraves when I had him on for an interview. And he really said, you know, we're figuring it out right now too. We're going to look at it region by region, you know, and let people make their own choices. So with that in mind, you know, here's my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. That's it. Please don't ask me to compare boats between brands. I just don't like doing it. It seems like it just creates a political firestorm. If you enjoyed this, please hit like, subscribe, follow the link in the description to my Amazon account, and then do your Amazon shopping through there. I'll get a couple cents that'll help me buy all of the gear that makes this happen instead of losing money on it. So yeah, have a good one. I'll catch you on the flip.